Give me the change. Give me the name. All right. You've never seen me review this brand before because they've never sent me anything before. This is Flux, or flux-labs, or flux-labs acoustics, or flux-labs acoustics amplifier.com/Ukrainian company that has a bit of a history and has something to do with the Rebel amp, which I've praised pretty highly. But let's just say that this is very much competition of that, because this particular amp, they're aiming at $500, and they're aiming at all these cool colors. Oh God, colored. Remember how I always complain about how every fucking thing in audio is basically black or silver? And then there was like that red weird amp. Well, look. They said, which color do you want? And I'm like, I want the gold, because my Z Reviews logo is sort of like gold. So they have gold or champagne or blue or red or black. So if you want to be boring, you get the black one. But yeah, this is a thing. There's my wallpaper, by the way. We are looking at, it's not currently on their website. I want to point this out. This unit is the FA-12S, which stands for single-ended. The FA-12 is on their site for $750. Now that's a balanced headphone amplifier. So in order to compete with the Rebel amp, they went with a single-ended design. They basically took their balanced amp, they removed a lot of the balanced components that made it more expensive, and they made it single-ended. So it has a single-ended output, it has a balanced output, it has balanced inputs and RCA inputs. It just is a single-ended amplifier. It's kind of like the SP200. The SP200 has all those connections, not a balanced amp. That being said, Class A. That being said, so many more options. Go away, Telegram. I get it. I get it. Many messages all the time. We are looking at power-wise. Let me get the power numbers out. At 300 ohm, 360 milliwatts. That's not bad. At 32 ohm, 2.6 watts. And at 50 ohm, 1.7 watts, which is why the T60 argons are out. 4 pins balanced. This is the spec for the for the balanced one. I don't know if it slightly changes whether they make it single-ended, but they didn't show in that one single-ended versus balanced, so I don't know what's going on. I guess we'll listen to it some more. I mean, I kind of really want to listen to it some more, because there is definitely a little bit of in it. There's a bit of that in it. Oh, I took the lid off. I haven't looked inside. There's pictures on the internet, but it's never the same as if you open it up. And I took all the little screws out. And I promise you, hand to God, or to the audio file, or to Steve Gutenberg, that I have not lifted the lid off this to look inside of it. I'm waiting for you guys. But I do want to show you at least the back a little bit. It's very simple. You get your pre-out, you get your single-ended in, you get your balanced in. This little plug here, this one, we'll talk about, because that has to do with the remote control, which is another interesting feature. And then you have your AC in. The front of said unit, oh, I'm trying to keep the lid on. Oh, gold! We've got a little white LED right there. I don't know if we could see that through the camera. It's very dull. That's fine. It's not a flashlight. I don't like flashlights. You get 3 switches, on, off, balanced or single-ended input, gain, high, low, medium, which I don't know why they do it in that order, but it's always that order. You got a knob, it says flux, and then you have a single-ended and balanced output. And don't electrocute myself. That'd be nice. Ooh. So let's see. We've got power in, metal divider, actually a thick metal divider, separating the power supply from the rest of the unit. We've got the infrared thing jumping over the top. We've got a little transformer here, flux analog, professional. You've got metal protecting the guides in front. We've got several very warm transistors. I think they said the power consumption is like 33 watts. So this might not be the one you want to leave on all day, because most TVs don't take that much power anymore. All the relays, so when we do this, Helsing OVA. I'm going to tell you one of my complaints right off the bat. This has a 64-step relay volume and 3 gain modes. So that should mean it has multiple gain modes and multiple steps, and therefore it's infinitely adjustable. But things like the shit or the little add-on one are like 256 step. And what I find myself doing is I'll get to like the butter zone of a headphone, and I've got a pretty wide variety of headphone impedances, and like these are the Sivga Phoenix, which, by the way, amazing. And also, by the way, the first thing I'm going to review when I get to the new house. And also, by the way, hyper efficient, like fucking stupid efficiency. Like, I don't think I've ever had a headphone that is this efficient. And I have it plugged in here, and it doesn't matter if it's plugged into the balanced or the unbalanced. It's the same thing. It literally, you could swap them and it doesn't make a difference. But if I have it on low gain and the volume control is at 6 o'clock, which is all the way down, and I put it up, and here I'll wear them to do this because I feel like that's maybe important. First click. I don't know if there's sound playing. Second click. Third. Fourth. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 14. 14 clicks out of the 64, and I'm starting to get like this could be the sound leak on another amplifier. Like, yeah, okay, that's 14 clicks though. 18, 19, 20. So what that means is by the time you get to usable volume, which in this case on low gain is basically noon, is like where you want to be. Then you have, like, that's okay, a little bit low. More, too much. So even though it's got 64 steps, the first 20 are just eh. And then you get like 5, like solidly 5 clicks where it's like, this is a little bit too quiet, and then it's too loud. And then beyond that is absurd. And what I found is, and I asked the creator, because they've been messaging me, the designers, and they said, yeah, because the way we do it, it's a ramp up of volume. And what that means is that if you have efficient headphones like these, run it on high, and those first 25 clicks that are useless now become your volume range. So it's a little bit dangerous because you could just go, whoop, accidentally blow it up, but I feel like there's a much smoother, thicker progression of adjustment here. But it does, once you get past that point, you are on high gain, and it's like, ah! So, put that to medium, I would say. God, I love these headphones, and this amplifier is solid. Solid amplification. Okay. Go away, things. Let's unplug those, because you're not supposed to know about these yet. This review is coming. I actually have a review written on Amazon. I do write reviews on Amazon occasionally. No one pays me to do that. I just do it for fun. For fun. I could actually switch to, we could go 1/4 inch because it doesn't really matter at all. Like zero matter. So now, T60 argons, which are, as you can imagine, harder to drive than just about everything. Let's go straight to high gain. Noon. We're back to noon, and noon is like, that's a listenable volume. It's a little bit on the low side. Like that's just, I'm just chillaxing with my Verite Close Juniors. It's just 12 to 1. 11, 12, 1. 2 is a speaker. 2 turns these into a speaker. So if I had to have one complaint about this unit, it's that volume is a little bit too ramped up right at the butter zone. Like it's like VTech kicks in every time I turn the knob. It's like, oh, it's going good. It's smooth. Oh, but here comes the power. Like I don't never need that much power. I mean, I'd probably just end up putting this on, if I put this on low gain, I could still blow it up on low gain. It's just it's way at the end of the range. We're at 3 o'clock. And it doesn't change like sound profiles when you go between the different gain modes. So that's nice. it's a bit of like a touch and go with how you want to run it. Do you want to run super efficiently and put on high and then deal with like the much closer together volume notches? Or when you have hard to drive stuff, do you want to like put it on low and then you only have giant chunks at the end? So it's a bit odd. That's the only thing that like throws me off as far as usability of this unit. Oh, also, ta-da! I fixed part of it just now. You see, because this takes balanced input or single-ended input. Since it's a single-ended amplifier, you really don't need a balanced DAC. I got the SMS LM400 here feeding it. So now I'm on the single-ended topping D90, which I do have actually turned down a little bit, which will give me a little bit more control. If you have multiple volume controls in the system, you can control a little better, kind of like the BTR5 does. You really want the amplifier to be the thing that's controlling the volume, though. You don't want to squelch the signal down. And then, like on a power amp, that's fine. But on an amplifier that's got... You're paying for this system of volume control because it's perfect. Because relays are clicking between resistor ladders so that you have perfect left and right balance. There's no slight variation as you change the volume, which resistor gets... It's a good system. It's chonky. It's a chonk. But if you go with single-ended instead of balanced, you lower the voltage you're putting into it by default, even if you have full tilt out, and you sort of get a little... You get to bring that, like, here is where everything's good, to, like, here is where everything's good. And you have a little more range. Let's change Weird Al. I love Weird Al, but I'm going to change it. String quartet. A little bit... Oh, I'm on low still. Let's go to... Now let's go to high. Hold on, give me like another like minute or so of this, just because that's the one flaw. And now we just get to talk about ear sex. And I'm not opposed, by the way, to having like, oh, it's a fake balanced amp because it has balanced inputs and outputs. It's convenient. It's just a convenience factor, like the SP200 that SMSL puts out. That everyone's like, is this a balanced amp? I need a balanced stack. What about? No, you don't. It's just convenient. If you have a balanced stack, you can hook it up that way. If you have balanced cables, Lord knows I have more balanced cables than 1/4-inch cables. I mean, I have, these are the Hart Audios that change, but it's just nice if I have a $700 headphone cable, which you shouldn't, but it's a balanced cable. I don't have to get an adapter to use a 1/4-inch. I could just plug it in. Even if it's not truly balanced, you're not going to damage the headphone. You're just, the amplifier is just giving you the option. It's got an adapter built in. So I'm not going to fault it. When I get to that, which is the FA-10, which that's 16 watts per channel headphone amp. That's not a speaker amp. There's no terminals in the back. That is just a headphone amp. That's 16 watts per channel, and it's about 3 inches deeper than this. And I can't wait to open that up and look inside of it. We'll get to that sort of, because that's truly balanced and truly absurd, and that's like $750. Check out flux-labs. They have some interesting stuff. They have this balance for $750, which I think this is probably going to be the cleaner, neater, nicer Class A. And then that's just, fuck you, 16 watts per channel. We'll get to it. I'm getting to it. Only available in boring black, although I think Flux really offer all the colors. Offer the colors on everything. I would like to get a red, white, and blue. They don't make white, do they? Damn it! I guess black and yellow is sort of like my theme anyway. But, how does it sound, Zeos? It's an amplifier, and you do, oh, yeah. Like, I wish, if the pandemic was over and I could just wander around with this and plop this down on people's heads, and then, well, Ryan at Mod House, so they have a fucking lot of orders, but so would flux-labs, and so would the string quartet doing Muse. Time is running out. All right, that's high gain, by the way, at 2 o'clock for that. Just pointing that out. Let's switch to the final set, because I like a little bit of diversity in my thing. We got dynamic, we got planar, and we got planar, and I pulled out other ones before. I've used this. I've actually used this for a bit to feed my IESL, but then I realized that might need a actual balanced input to push electrostats, which is unfortunate because I really like the way the IESL sounded on this. So let's go and give these. I'm gonna leave it on high gain. We're on single-ended input. Now, if I lower this down and they go, yeah, there's definitely a volume boost in the balanced. Although, actually, wait a second, because this is down. Let me raise that to 0. Is this down? You know what? I'm wrong. I'm retarded. I admit that. I forgot they did say that. They said that they've worked the back's inputs to be identical volumes. So that's on 0, outputting RCA. That's on 0, outputting XLR. And there's no volume change. So they've actually taken into account the higher voltage you should get on a nominal 4-volt outputting XLR and the 2 to 2.25 volts you get in RCA. And they've worked the actual internals of the amplifier to accommodate that. So there is no volume discrepancy between the two inputs. It's attention to detail. I'm just pointing out this attention to detail. I wish amplifier companies would just stop giving me these crappy lids. Like, yeah, that's fantastic. Now offer me the $150 Lexan top option, please. Like, I know I'm not a big fan of like LEDs and RGB, but you line this with like some LEDs and you light it up at night and that's what it looks like. Ugh. Actually, you know, Geshelli, hey, Geshelli Labs, you know, because they make the Arish and the other amps that are amazing. They actually started as a Lexan company. Like, they have clear, that's why their stuff was clear plastic, because they did that first. And the headphone thing was a hobby. And I'm pretty sure they've now, like, swapped what's the importance is. Oh, hold on, let me lower the volume on this. We have to talk about the DRD in the room. So, this has a remote control. Oh, this also, before I get to the remote control, because that's important, it has single-ended in and pre-out. It will pre-out. And I actually have it set up there. Boom. And now, yeah, so now the headphones are being powered by the 789. I'm trying to judge if there's smoothness added with this, because this is doing smooth things. So now this volume knob and all the relays are controlling the outputting RCA to that. And you could switch between, that's not my mouse. That's not my mouse. Me to a song that actually has volume. There you go, perfect. So now I could switch balance or single-ended to push to that. And the high, medium, low gain also is affecting the RCA outputs and the volume relay. So you can hook up, and I'll just shut this off for a second. All the things sleep. I can hook this up to powered monitors. If you want this on your desk, you can hook up a DAC, whether it's single-ended or balanced, doesn't matter. You could hook up 2 DACs. You could hook up 2 sources. Then you could output via RCA, and only RCA, to studio monitors or a power amp and use this to control it. It does not switch off the front, though. So you got to know that. So if I plugged in, let's see, what am I on, low? If I plug this, wait. Now these are also playing. So it's one of those, it kind of needs one more switch to either use that or not use that. So if you want to, it would be a convenience thing, like, oh, I just love it when it's like, use the front, use the back, use both. Very rarely would I ever want to use both, unless I was doing like monitoring and recording out of the output, but I don't think anyone's doing that. Anyone doing that? All right, I'm gonna shut that off and unplug it. Oh. Have I mentioned how much I love the Civica Phoenix? Now, the only thing you're really gonna have to worry about is shipping from the Ukraine. From Ukraine. I always put the thought in there, and I apologize to everyone because I don't know. It just feels like the United States of America, the People's Republic of China, I don't know. It just feels better, but it's definitely just Ukraine. Although who doesn't want a the? I don't want to be Zeos. I want to be the Zeos. Anyway, let's talk about this, which is hilarious. When I got it out of the box on the unboxing channel, I was kind of like, what? So it looks like it's spray painted yellow to try to match the fascia. They did a poor job. Don't bother. Just let it be whatever remote color it is. And I don't know where this remote's from. It's a generic remote from something. But it has power set AV, which do nothing. Here's the receiver, by the way. It's plugs into the back. It's a little 3.5 millimeter. So you can mount this, I guess, where it's best to be seen by the remote. But I mean, so there's nothing in the front. Like, this is the only thing that's a receiver. You unplug this. This is optional, by the way. It does not come with. You unplug this and it can't use a remote. When you have it plugged in, you get these 5 buttons: channel up, channel down, volume up, and mute. Now, channel up, channel down is volume control. Volume down, volume up is volume control. And mute is mute. There's the power, the set, and the AV do nothing. So if I set mute, unmute, volume down, volume down, volume up, volume up, volume up, volume up, volume down, volume down, volume down. The knob is not moving though. A lot of times when you do a remote control with something that has like a relay setup like this, like shit would do it, or the audio valve, it physically has a motor on the knob and it goes and it just, the moving of the knob is what does that. It's probably harder to do it this way, but it's cheaper because they don't have to add a special fucking potentiometer that has a goddamn servo motor in it. So what you end up getting is the volume knob is still at 1 o'clock, but I've lowered the volume down. So now the problem happens if I touch the volume knob. It's going to jump back to the volume at 1 o'clock. The first click, it's like, ah. So you got to be careful. You could really blow someone's shit up if you really if you wanted to be a dick. Because I think about these things all the time. You could pause someone's music, turn the knob up all the way, then lower the volume down with the remote. And then the next time they go to sit down, they put their headphones on, like, why is nothing playing? And they touch it, and it's immediately got fucking 4 watts per channel into their Supervision headphones. It's just, I'm paranoid, all right? All right? People are dicks, and I understand that, and I need to know what the dicks are going to do first. But I mean, as long as you don't have, like, no one's going to know about doing that until I've seen this video. And then you buy a flux-labs FA-12S with the remote option, and then you have Supervision headphones. Like, that really wouldn't matter too much with the T60s, although maximum volume on this would still be a lot on those. I really like the way this fucking amp sounds. And I don't think... Here's the thing. Let's compare to a product by Shit, right? Shit has got a ton of amps. The Jotunheim is around $500. This licks the fucking floor with Jotunheim's fucking blood. I don't like the Jotunheim anymore. People, I have to get this out there. The Jotunheim was the first balanced amplifier you could buy as a consumer that wasn't like thousands of dollars. I've only been doing this 6 years. That was like 4 years ago. I can't even fathom how the world has changed because everybody can get, like, the Geshelli Erish is like $199 balanced, and it's one of the best fucking sounding things ever. And like the Jotunheim was a lot of power, and you can get it with you had to get it with basically the DAC built in because no one was selling balanced DACs. Oh my God. This for $500, just what? Wipes the floor. This versus like a 789 or a THX is really like, this has much more options. Even if it's only single-ended, you could argue that the 789 are also mostly single-end because of the volume knob, and it's not really passing through the full thing, but the amplification itself, like there's arguments to be made on either side, but just like the Rebel amp, that's a Class A, warm, beautiful, that adds that little taste of love to your music. This is warm, beautiful, adds a little bit of the taste of love to your music, and has relay volume control, and has balanced inputs and outputs, and arguably looks prettier. I kind of like the green, like weird Goblin Slayer shell on the Rebel amp. I also like the volume knob a little better on that, just because it's bigger and has, even though it's analog, like it's just, I feel like I have more control over it. But this is legitimately, at least on paper, a better system. To put all this in here to control everything, to give you the heated up heat pump amplification, to separate it with this beautiful fucking cage, to offer a remote. To offer a fucking remote. Did anyone ask for that? I didn't ask for that, but it has it. And if I would have plopped this fucker down in my living room, the only time I could see the remote being useful is if you're using this purely as a source control. You have a DAC that for some reason doesn't have a remote, which, by the way, high-end DACs all have remotes now. So I'm having a real hard time even envisioning a preamp system, unless you're just using it for switching between inputs, which, you know, you still have to walk up and do that. You can't do that on the remote. But it could be done. If you were like, all right, this is my desktop amp, and I listen to headphones while I'm at my desk, but sometimes I put on my big-ass fucking speakers, my huge Mackie V-Series monitors, which, by the way, Mackie contacted me. They want to send me these giant fucking 2,000-watt self-powered monitors. And I'm like, I got a house coming. My garage is going to rock. So, yes. But if you wanted to control something like that, you would just unplug your headphone. You'd grab your DRD. If you don't know what a DRD is, you need to go watch Farscape. But you grab your fucking 1812 over here, and you would just have... It's a little slow, but it works. It actually, here's the thing, it's slow, but it's more precise than the knob. Because the knob is sort of like, it's based on where you're turning it, and you gotta be real finite in your rotations to get it to like click right perfectly. Whereas this, I can just hold it down and it's like click, 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 click. It's actually easier to control the volume with the remote. I love these headphones. I love you, Sivkas. See, now the volume's at 0, so now that I did that, and now the volume shuts off. The very bottom, like, o'clock, from 6 to 7 o'clock, there's no clicks, so it's sort of like a dead zone, which is good, because you don't want it to, like, bounce off of one at the very bottom, where it's like, click, click, click. So it just hits, it has a landing spot. Yeah, like, I think when I do it with the remote, I have more control over the volume than with the knob, because I expect like a certain amount of knob to adjust the volume a certain amount, and it's not the case. It's an exponential ramp. So if you do it with this, it's perfect. Yeah, you got to go so slow. It feels like a bomb disposal unit. It's like, oh my God, am I here? Am I here? Millimeter. Every millimeter is like... This amp sounds fucking great. I need to put this amp away now. I'm taking this to the new house. This might be on my desk permanently. I might put the Rebel amp on like my user desk, like where I'm just hanging out on my regular fucking doing emails. And this would be the review amp. Unless that one shows me more, but I think the sound on this one's gonna be a little bit more. They're the same price. Like, this balance is the same price as that balanced, which makes me sort of believe that you're either paying for the Class A architecture and the Class A sound, or 16 watts of fuck your face up. Those are your two options. So I'm gonna go disconnect this and screw the top back on, and then I'm gonna go blow my fucking hair straight off my body with that thing. So yeah, thank you for stopping by. Thank you, flux-labs, for sending this out. What a way to compete in the modern market. It's just like, hey, how about for $500 this? So boom. That wallpaper available in the description. If you want to support this channel, Subscribestar or Patreon is available, and you get to see these reviews early. I've dumped all bunch of reviews. You're not seeing this. I'm filming this review like 4 days from my house close. So you're probably not seeing it until I'm pretty much living there, because shit just gets delayed. But I've released a ton of reviews early, like 3 weeks early on the Patreon and Subscribestar, so that you can absorb it all in. If there's going to be a line like this, I don't think Flux is going to put out 10,000 of these. So you may be on a waiting list. And if you want to be on that waiting list, you probably want to be on that waiting list as a patron or a subscriber versus just public. If you're seeing this public, good luck. Just like the T60s, good luck. But at least you'll get the wallpaper. The wallpapers never run out. The download links from Imgur never expire. But you could also get every wallpaper in a giant archive on my supporter sites. See the reviews early, participate in the yard sales, which, depending on what's going down with that one, if that one is just absurd, maybe that one's in the yard sale. If this one's just absurd, maybe this one's in the yard sale. I don't know yet. I don't plan on yard selling either of these or that or this or these or that. So really, well, fuck it. But fuck it. Yeah. And ask me any questions you want on platform. You get to just message me on either Patreon or Subscribestar. I'll get back to you. It's going to be rough in like the early months of or the fall months of 2020. So just be patient. If you're not patient, if you're one of those people who needs to have your fucking answers now, here's a $10 Telegram chat tier on either one of those supporter sites. That puts you literally on my phone. And all you got to do is say, at Zeos Pantera, I just bought this. Why is this happening? Help. And I and 200 other people will help you. It is the greatest little audio community on the internet because it's behind a little $10 paywall. It's like one Chinese food order a month worth of paywall. And apparently only the greatest people on earth go in there. And cereal. No, he's been fine. Look, there's Space Sloth. Hi, Space Sloth. He's been here since the beginning. I may have to make multiple copies of him because I don't know where I'm filming reviews in the new place yet. Anyway, wallpapers, links to flux-labs, links to that, links to headphones. This is it. We're moving on. Moving on up to the north side of where there's shitty internet of Pennsylvania.